Traditionally, how did Kanien'kehá people understand and interpret differences in abilities?
Well, I think when we look back historically, we didn't look at it as a deficit or, singling out our kids. All of our kids were born as gifts, and that's kind of where we looked at that as they have different abilities.
Were there traditional terms or concepts used to describe what we now refer to as disabilities?
All of our children are all, we look at them as ne saga. They're all the same, even though they might have different disabilities, whether it's physical or mental or, spiritual or whatever their deficit is, it's not a deficit. It's a gift. And so there's no, terms for that in our ways.
How were people with different abilities viewed or treated in our culture?
All of our children were treated the same, possibly sometimes if a child had more of a physical disability, they might need more care, I guess, and maybe the parents would spend more time giving them the care that they need to ensure that, they're taken care of properly. We didn't look at it in the way that colonization has looked at, differences in our children.
Were people with special needs seen as having particular roles or responsibilities in the community?
What would happen is that we would look at these children as they're brought here for a reason, and that as they grow, their gifts will, we'll know what their gifts are. And so it's kind of looking at that and just allowing them to be children instead of, always kind of, well, let's start working on this because, we need to get them to this place where they need to be at this point. It's like, no, we'll just let them be and we'll see where it takes us, right?
What strengths or unique abilities do you think individuals with disabilities bring to our community?
Each one has their own special, unique gift. And it's looking at those gifts and what can they be utilized for? And how do we hone those gifts? And how do we make sure that their gifts are acknowledged and utilized? Just because they have maybe some cognitive disabilities doesn't mean that they can't be something. And they can't be, they have things that they can offer, and it's up to us to really look at that and say, these children they're brought here for a reason. The Creator sent them here for a reason.
How do you think colonization has impacted the ways disabilities are understood and addressed in the community?
Again, what colonization has done to us, and especially to our families and the parents, and especially the mothers with who have given birth to children who have, cognitive or special needs. These parents were made to be, especially the women, they were made to feel guilty about, bringing something that they did had caused this. So there was a lot of guilt and shame to the parents, and then it was like these children should not be with the rest of the family. They shouldn't be seen, they shouldn't be heard, they have to be hidden away. And that's why, a lot of times when kids were born with special needs, they were put into institutions or they were kept in the home and you never seen them. Sometimes you didn't even know that they existed. And that wasn't our way. This is what colonization has brought to us.
How do you feel Western definitions of disabilities align or conflict with traditional perspectives?
Where we're looking at the Western perspective, and it's always the negative things. They're not going to be able to achieve this milestone, and we have to look at, finding ways to get to what they need to do right now because they might not be able to be like everyone else, So it's always looking at their imperfections or their deficits and saying, okay, well, almost like so discouraging to say they might not ever be anything. And so what are we doing to the child, to the parent, how is that impacting? And it impacts the entire community because there's that mindset and the belief that comes with that.
How do you think modern health and education systems can better incorporate traditional perspectives on special needs?
Where have we come from? We had everything in place in our culture to understand all of our children, and where we're at today is that all of our families are fractured due to colonization, what it has done to us. Not only, special needs, but all of our families and our parenting, what was here culturally and our traditions have been really broken because of what colonization has done to us. So now what they need to do is kind of step back and allow us to integrate our own teachings and our culture into schools and whatever centers, and also pouring in a lot of dollars into these areas so that these children have everything that every child has, whether you have a deficit or not, that these children are all equal and they should be treated equally and all of their needs should be met.
What traditional views on disability are essential for care providers to understand?
Well, I think as parents, it's like, realize that, you didn't do anything wrong, that you've been given a child that has a gift, and that these gifts will be something that you can value and utilize, but it's learning how to help your child and so that they can fulfill the reason that they've been brought here, and understanding that and not allowing the Western ways of thinking that it's not anything that you've done. There's no shame in the child or in yourself. You haven't done anything wrong. These children are here for a reason. They're showing us something, and embrace that. They're not brought here to burden you. They're not brought here because it's extra work for you. They're here because they have gifts and they need to be nurtured, and don't exclude them. Include them in everything. They need to be part of everything, because what you're going to be watching with these children is they're going to show you things that you didn't know, And to me, that's the most important thing.